Gods of a Dead World, Ethereal Void. I've lost track of the episode count, but it's somewhere on the video. This album is another interesting one because if we're basing what this album is supposed to be against what it is, it basically succeeds. It's a great album. It's a nice, groovy, punishing death metal album. But I don't listen to it. And I will enjoy it, but I don't listen to it. And if I liked it, I would listen to it because I make music that I like. In going back to this album and thinking about why I don't like it, the biggest thing is what I've touched on previous episodes, which is with this album, Logan just sent me guitar parts and I was just like, cool, sounds good. And I would sometimes restructure some of them, but a lot of the times I would just leave it as is. I might reprogram the drums, but I basically didn't touch the guitars for this album except for a couple of places. And the result of that just meant that this album was really densely packed, but it was very short and very quick. Some of these songs are like 2.5 minutes, like maybe 3. How many? Let's see. There's only 2 songs and then the ending song, which is super long, that are even over 3 minutes. Like most of them are like pushing like they're just reaching that 3-minute mark. And for metal, that's really short. For grind, it isn't, but you know what I mean. I don't want to say I could have like padded out the songs on this album, but I could have made it into something more, I think. And whether that would be a detriment to the album, I'm not too sure. Like, if we're talking about what would have made me like it better, I think some more comprehensive structures might have benefited. Like, I like short songs. I do. And at the time, I loved this album. But after it came out and I listened to it a few times, I was like, okay, I'm good. Because while the songs are dense, they're so short. There's like not a ton to grab onto. And I honestly think that we have not yet surpassed Immaculate Destroyer. That song's amazing. Even if the production on it isn't super great, like I don't think we have written a song that's better than that still. I don't want to be like, I don't like this album because I didn't meddle enough with it, because obviously I did, because I put orchestration in it, and I'm really happy with that. I had never done orchestration where it's just like really subtle and it's kind of horror and it's just like it's atmosphere. It doesn't need to musically be super compelling. It's just like a layer. That was awesome. I'm so glad that I did that. It feels like this album could have just used a little more. Like, it is really short. It's barely an album, and at the time it was like, that's fine. It doesn't matter. And I don't think there's anything wrong with short songs or short albums. They can be as short as they need to be. Something bugs me about it. Like, it achieved more than what it set out to. People loved this album. Several people said that this is better than the Design Abstract, which is crazy. I'm not sure what it is. This is kind of a weird case of, like, I know I like it, but I don't really go back and listen to it. And maybe it's just because I don't really listen to this genre of music. That could be all that it is. Because I really struggled to find problems with this album, if I'm honest. I think the production was super, super fitting. I think the production of, like, the production style to what the music was at the level of, if not better than, For the Days Lost. In terms of matching the music, it might be better. It's aggressive and distorted and punchy, and I think it serves the music super well. Honestly, this episode doesn't really have a point. Like, I'm trying to think of flaws. I think the only real thing, if I have to really nitpick, the only real problem I have is that, like, the lyrical themes are inconsistent because I didn't care. Like, I think I've talked about this, but during the production of this album, I just had no ideas. I didn't care. That's why I didn't touch the song structures. Logan would send me songs, I'd be like, cool, whatever. And I'd rearrange them if necessary, record the bass parts, send them off to Nemesis for leads, and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. And so I ended up just like powering through the remaining songs because I hadn't even written lyrics for all of them because I just had no ideas. And like, it's funny because Psychosomatic Suicide turned out really good, and that was one of the songs where I'm just like, I'm going to finish this one way or another, even if it sucks. And that was the lyrics of me just like forcing myself to finish this album. And of course, that's what happens. It turns out good. But the entire time we were making this album, I didn't care. I didn't like it. It didn't resonate with me. Wasn't until I was like, you know what? I don't want to hate this album. So I put scoring over a couple of the songs, and the guys really liked it because, of course, they're the same people who are in Design Abstract. They're going to like it. And that was when I was like, hey, this appeals to me now. So I don't know. Maybe the thing that bugs me about it is that the orchestration isn't more musical, and that's what I grip onto. Like, because I just don't listen to this genre in my normal time. If I'm listening to metal, it's either going to be normally it's going to be really melodic. If I'm listening to like brutal pounding death metal, it's going to be way more aggressive than this. It's going to be like Beneath the Massacre. Because to me, this genre isn't like brutal enough to really do damage, but it's also not melodic enough to keep me interested in that way. And I think that middle balance is what people liked about it, obviously, because it's not like oppressively and alienatingly heavy. And it's got enough melody to keep you interested, but it's like, for me, I'm just like looking for extremes. And so maybe if the orchestra had more going on, I would have liked it more. Or possibly if the lead work was a little more like, obviously a lot of notes. Nemesis plays a lot of notes, but if it was more melodic, like in the sense of, I don't know, even simplistic or less chromatic, maybe I would have liked it more. See, now I'm reaching a problem where, am I judging these albums? Like I've already said, the criteria for what I don't like about these is entirely arbitrary. It's literally just what bothers me when I listen to them from the unique perspective of I made them. So I have every right to be like, this album isn't very good because I don't like this genre, but that doesn't seem fair, you know, because I made it. Why did I make it if I don't like it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, those are really the only things that I don't like about this album. Like, I think what it became was great, but what it could have been, how I see it, as like a longer album that had a little bit more dynamic variation, maybe a little more melody in the orchestra, I would have liked it more, but it probably would have been less popular. I think maybe people liked it because I didn't overthink it, because I didn't care. I was just like, get it the fuck done. And like most of the stuff I do overthink, and it gets really complicated, and it doesn't resonate with people as much. So maybe that's what it was. If that's the case, you'll be happy to know that the next Ethereal Void is like even more stripped down. Yeah, I'm not letting like what I'm like get in the way of Ethereal Void. That one kind of, even though I do a lot of it, it more belongs to the other guys. So at least there's that. I think I'm going to refuse to rate this one because I think it is perfect at achieving what it sets out to achieve. I think it's like a 10 out of 10 for what it is, but I don't really like the thing that it is. And I'm very proud of that album, and I think all of us did a great job on it. But even if it wasn't my music, I wouldn't listen to it. If somebody showed it to me, I would listen to it once and I'd be like, this is fucking awesome. These guys rule. And I would never touch it again. I already know that. Because I don't want to say it doesn't stay with you. Like, the riffs do stay with you, and I think some of the vocals even like are kind of memorable. But it's not the type of thing that sticks with me, I think. There isn't anything that I'm like, wow, holy shit. And I don't know why that's the case with Immaculate, that I really, really do like it. I don't know. But yeah, my rating system doesn't make sense. But it doesn't matter, because these videos are mostly just for the sake of talking. So there it is.